Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, in Japan, we are now in day 3 of the New Japan G1 Climax. Now, however, we're only going to focus on tournament matches. On this one, we're only going to focus with one match involving the B block and the rest A block. So we'll see how things have changed from here on out. Who remains undefeated, who is still without any wins whatsoever. And then, of course, we move on with NXT. As you know, a lot of things have been taking place. We're seeing, of course, Trick Williams is determined to win back his NXT title in any way possible. We are seeing the Rascals making their reunion on NXT and plenty other things as well. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates, giving you guys updates on upcoming events from the promotions, such as what events they're throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews, such as, of course, from promotions from here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics, such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was not unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be gaining a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions I've set aside, I believe it's time to go full speed ahead. So, let's begin with, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax. Okay, New Japan's G1 Climax. Now, to give you guys a quick recap of what this tournament is about, this is a tournament to determine who will be the one to challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight title in Wrestle Kingdom. Now, the idea of this tournament, it's not an elimination where, of course, you win a match, the person loses. This is based on point-based system. Basically, you have to earn enough points in order to proceed on to the next round, and then the semifinals, and then the finals, that sort of thing. The idea is you have to, if you win a match, you get 2 points. But if you lose a match, you get 0. But in the situation of a time limit draw where the time remaining exceeded, each wrestler gets 1 point. Now, to make you guys in a warning faction, as soon as we get closer and closer to the end of this tournament, there's going to be a lot of confusion. Sometimes they do these numbers things to calculate how they're going to proceed this further. Like like this, for example, let's say we have one guy who's determined, who's like on the verge of proceeding into the next round. Well, there's one who catched up to him, but there was another person who's about the same points as him. He's the one who actually proceeds. So there's a lot of confusion, but stay with me because I will keep track of all of that for all of you guys so I don't get confused. Now, as you know, we already are in day 3. Certain wrestlers already received their points, their first wins. There's still those who are undefeated. There are those who haven't won their first matches. But let's go from A to Z from there. Now, we only have one match involving the B block. We have Konosuke Takeshita versus Jeff Cobb. Now, this was going to be a very interesting match. Now, those who don't know, the day before or so, Takeshita was at DDT Pro Wrestling, so he's full of energy. So I'm sure because of his match that he had with Masato Tanaka, might have given him the energy he needed in order to proceed in this match. But you know Jeff Cobb, he is a strong individual, but Takeshita, he's always been an incredible wrestler. Not to mention, talked about his dreams of maybe one day being in a New Japan ring. But he was able to pick up the win when he defeated Jeff Cobb. I'm not sure if he applied like a Falcon Arrow modified version of it, but it did the job, giving him his next 2 points. So he wins by, he has a total of 4 points with 2 wins and 1 loss. And as for Jeff Cobb, well, he has about maybe just 2 points with 1 win and 2 losses. So we still got enough time, folks. We are still in the early stages, so we'll see how far we progress in the tournament. Now our next 5 matches are involving in the A block of the tournament. Our first match of the A block, we have Cal Newman versus Zack Sabre Jr. Now, of course, many of us would say that Zack Sabre Jr. could be the fan favorite to win this tournament. Personally, I would think he is one of the few possibilities, but we'll see. Of course, Cal Newman, you know he learned a lot. However, you would have thought that Cal Newman, since he is like determined to be the next ace, well, that did not stop Zack Sabre Jr. when he put him in a very unique type of submission that forced him to tap out. So Zack Sabre Jr. got his next 2 points, so he has a total of 6 points. Now, currently, he is still undefeated. Now, keep in mind, even though he's undefeated, there are times where we're going to see certain wrestlers that will definitely will be defeated once they lose 1 match. So that could happen at any given time. It could happen in the next time or so. So bear with me. But as for Cal Newman, well, he only has 2 points with just 1 win and 2 losses. Now moving on, we have Shingo Takagi versus Great O'Connor. Now, of course, they are no strangers with each other. They have faced off before. Of course, there's going to be a lot of powerhouse. Even Khan, who's determined to, show he is all strong in that, but it took only a pumping bomber by Shingo to put away Khan, and just like that, it was over. Shingo received his next 2 points with the total points of 4, with 2 wins and 1 loss. As for Khan, well, he is still at the bottom with 0 points. Basically, this is his 3rd loss straight. So he could get eventually a win at some point, but it's still undetermined when or where. So bear with me on that too as well. Now our next match, we have Shota Umino versus Gabe Kidd. Now this is a very interesting match. Gabe Kidd has been telling people he is the real ace of New Japan, even though he's a loudmouth prick who talks too much. He thinks Shota Umino is nothing but a fag and all this other stuff, that he's not the ace. But we know Shota Umino is a strong wrestler. However, of course, Shota Umino could not withstand the kind of aggressiveness that Gabe Kidd did. He actually tried to break him in half, and then he applied a gut-wrench power bomb that sealed the deal, giving him 4 points with 2 wins and 1 loss. And of course, this for Shota, he has 1 win and 2 losses with 12 points. And of course, Gabe Kidd told him that he is the real ace. But sooner or later, somehow he's not. I don't think he's going to be the one. Sooner or later, he's not going to probably realize that he's going to face against someone who is already determined to prove he is the ace. But we'll see. Now our next match. Well, these guys know each other way too well on various occasions. 1, they used to be tag partners with LIJ, and 2, well, this prick tried to steal his belt, claiming that he forfeited. And I'm talking about Evil versus Sonata. Of course, you guys know that they were tag partners. They were one of the best tag teams that we know. But however, Evil with his disgusting ways, trying to cheat, proving that he is deserving. And of course, it was sooner or later he was going to play dirty. So the referee was out. Then, of course, he low-blowed Sonata and then tried everything as Evil. Now, just like Zack Sabre Jr., he's also undefeated. But sooner or later, he has to lose, and someone is going to have to kick Dick in the dick. Get it? Kick Dick in the dick. I just amaze myself sometimes. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But however, Evil does have 6 points, so that means he is still undefeated. But as I said, sooner or later he may have to be losing one match or maybe two at some point. We just don't know when or where. Just like we're seeing with Zack Sabre Jr. But as for Sonata, he is currently in 2 points with 1 win and 2 losses. Now, our next match, well, these two guys are no strangers. Jake Lee versus Tetsuya Naito. Now, those who remember, Jake Lee was the hired assassin by David Finlay to take out Naito. However, Jake Lee was unable to defeat Naito in singles competition. So I'm sure him coming to New Japan will help him try to, get him out of this funk. The reasons that he decided to disband good-looking guys and come to New Japan. But you know that Tetsuya Naito knows he's not dealing with an amateur, but he knows this guy is determined to hurt him. But somehow he was able to apply Destino onto him to pick up his first win. Well, Naito did not win his first 2 matches, but he ended up winning this match with 2 points, with 1 win and 1 loss. Same thing with Jake Lee, same points situation as Naito, 1 win and 2 losses. So we'll see how we progress in the entirety of this tournament. But from here on out, I think we are done with New Japan. So let's move on with NXT. Alright, NXT. It opened up with, of course, Trick Williams doing a promo. As you know, Trick Williams has one thing in his mind, is to regain the NXT title. Now, remember, he was in a 4-way match, but technically he was the one who lost the belt. Ethan Page refuses to give him his rematch, but he's looking for ways to do that. But because of this was becoming a very critical matter, because he's being given advice by Cedric Alexander, someone that he respects, but however, he has no time to listen to that. And then, of course, Ashante the Adonis, who we haven't seen for quite some time in NXT, also made his return and decided to do the same thing, tried to get him all this and telling Cedric that he's wasting his time. But however, Trick Williams decided to diss him about Hit Row. So basically, that was really funny. But however, we did see, of course, Cedric and Trick will be facing off each other. And I think that's our main event, I believe. Let me look at my notes real quick. No, that's some point halfway. Yeah, okay. But anyway, let's proceed on. Now, as you know, Ethan Page, cocky as ever, but there is one thing that's getting up his mind. Oro Mensah. Basically, there's like a match that kind of involves saying that he lost to him and all this. And Ethan Page has been trying to make it on the record that he lost. Even Tyreek Igwe and Tyson Dupont were trying to tell him that you did lost. But it was driving Ethan Page crazy, but real funny. But let's see what happens from there. Now, our next match, this is between 2 former tag partners. This is in a no disqualification match. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Now, remember, they went their separate ways at some point, and then when Derek Brooks Jensen was acting up, Josh Briggs vouched for him by putting his name on the line. But things were becoming hectic, you know. You would think this match was going to be insane, that Josh Briggs had this in the back, but no. All of a sudden, Sean Spears showed up and helped out, and Jensen used a chair to whack him down, and just like that, he implanted him in a DDT on top of the steel chair, winning the match. So basically, we're seeing a somewhat of a new partnership between both Jensen and Spears. Now, as you know, with Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they're a good tag team, but sometimes they talk about certain things. Apparently, if you guys remember, Nathan Frazier put himself in the contingency for the Heritage Cup, and it would putting Axiom in a concern. Well, now the roles are reversed over the fact that Axiom entered the Speed Tournament, And while they were discussing this, they ran into the Rascals. So basically, of course, um, Trey Miguel reminded them, by any chance, did you guys ever lose those belts? So basically, it's true. This happened during the time with Zachary Wentz, who at the time was known as Nash Carter. Uh, they had to vacate their belts because of Wentz's situation with his ex-wife. But yeah, so basically they set up a match between them. But however, they had to find a third partner, and then once again, here we go again with their bickering. Now, those who know this, it seems that NXT the locker room are aware about Stephanie Vakir. You see, Lola Vice, Soruka, and Karen Petrovic were impressed by her. They know that she's talented, but they brought up a very interesting point. Do you think that Fallon is gonna call her rookie? Basically, everybody is rookie to her except for Jay-Z Jane and Jasmine Nix. And then of course, Soruka decided, was there any talk about the NXT Women's Tag Team talks? So they seem like they want to proceed them, but however, Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson say they are the ones who are more cohesion. So basically, they set up to be okay. Who's going to be the one to build up the momentum for that proceed? So we'll see to that. Now, our next match we have Lexis King versus Eddie Thorpe. Now, as you know, Lexis King likes to stir the pot, saying that he's better than everyone because he's a king and all this other stuff. And he got into Eddie Thorpe's face about EDM, like dub music and all that stuff. Well, Ed Kingston was able to pick up a win with him, and then when he applied like an implant DDT, and just like that, it was over. But however, Lexis King, who of course became a sore loser, attacked him and used his little cane, crushing his hands. So basically, Lexis King thinks he gets away with it, but sooner or later, Eddie Thorpe will get his revenge. It's only a matter of time until he does. Now, of course, Kelly, who's concerned over Trick Williams, interviewed him, asking him about his upcoming match. But of course, he knows he has to get Cedric out of the way and refocus his attention to get his belt back and Ethan Page. And of course, Pete Dunne once again was right there watching him. So we'll see how that proceeds. Now, our next match, we have Oro Mensah versus Ashante Thee Adonis. Now, as you know, Ashante Thee Adonis was hitting on Jakara Jackson. She had no intentions of being with the guy. So no, Oro Mensah's like, oh, hell no, not this again. So basically, that's what happened. But of course, we did see Oro Mensah picked up a good win against them by doing a spin heel kick, and just like that, it was over. Now, the most funniest segment ever, as you know. If you're in the Mafia, you know you cannot leave evidence. You cannot leave any witnesses watching your dirty tactics. However, it appears that No Quarter Crew actually, No Quarter Catch Crew screwed the pooch on that one. There is a witness, and that witness is Wren Sinclair. And of course, the Don is having a great field day over this. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? So, Wren Sinclair told Charlie Dempsey, saying, I have a match with Carly Bright, so if I lose, you may never know what's going to say coming out of my mouth. And of course, D'Angelo just loves what's happening. And of course, when they all left, they're like, oh, we got to watch this. And of course, Andrea goes, let's get the popcorn. I think this is a great segment. It's like, you when you see a wannabe try to be someone, but they screwed up. I think this is one of those moments I just love so much. Now, let's get to that match. Wren Sinclair versus Carly Bright. Of course, the D'Angelo were watching as you see Andrea with the popcorn. But however, but there was a moment where Kendall Gray suplex Miles Bourne. I was like, holy snap. But because Wren Sinclair threatened him, saying, if I lose, I will open my mouth. So he had no other choice. This is not what he wants, but he had no choice. So he helped Wren Sinclair. I thought it was so amazing. So that's good. But we did see them confront each other. But of course, Tony D'Angelo decided to give Tavion hides a shot of that Heritage Cup. So, and that's gonna, I just think it's so funny and so great to see it. Now, as you know, we got the Great American Bash coming up in a while. There's gonna be a 2-day and 2-week event, and of course, Hank Walker and Tank Ladger are trying to come up with a plan how they're gonna be involved in this. But of course, Hank said he had, a plan, but he didn't say what. However, the bickering between Axiom and Nathan continues about what they're doing. They were approached by Javon Evans saying they are, in fact, he wants to team up with them. So that kind of, okay, that solved our problem. So we'll see what happens. Now, Chase U, of course, were in their little study area, as always, getting ready to see the interview with Thea, but Howard Duke seems disappointed that he did not win against Obafemi. But of course, Riley and Professor Chase were in fact helping him to say, you put up a hell of a match. You pushed Obafemi to the limits. However, Red Challenge shows up with a brand new shirt because they saw the hell with Thea with a brand new shirt with the logo. And they thought it was pretty great. And of course, Andre Chase thought, the color, the design is almost picture perfect like the old one. And of course, Rich told him that, of course, this is already out for the fall, since they're going to be changing colors in the next semester. Now, of course, Thea did an interview, talked about how Rich has been like someone that she can relate to, because she was in the same position as him for a long time, and it feels like she's treating everybody not only just friends but as family. So I thought it was a very interesting interview. I wish I would have seen them crying what she was saying, but it never happened. Now, Trick Williams, as you know, has to deal with Cedric Alexander. So, of course, there was going to be some good moments. And, of course, Trick Williams took out Cedric with the trick shot. But all of a sudden, he was attacked in the post-match by Pete Dunne and attacked him. And, of course, Trick was not happy with the whole thing. He even confronted Shawn Michaels about it. Now he has to deal with Pete Williams instead of trying to focus his attention to the NXT title. But, of course, as soon as that happened, Roxanne Perez complained to Shawn Michaels about how come the hell gets an interview. So, yeah. Now, our next match, we see Carmen Petrovic and Sol Ruca teaming up to take on Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. Now, remember, there was talks about the NXT women's tag team titles that were taken by Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, so we didn't know what was going to happen. But I thought it was a pretty good match. But however, I think the idea of this match was showing, okay, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson have been very cohesion. I don't remember for how long, but it makes perfect sense. So it was Lash Legend who picked up the win on Carmen Petrovic. In the post-match, they put out a promo calling out, of course, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to be the next challengers. But the real question is, will they respond? Well, we'll see about that until we get there. Now, as you know, recently we did see Tatum Paxley being all creepy around Kalani Jordan. Well, apparently they just showed her a video of her with a doll that resembles her. So Kalani Jordan is being freaked out about it. Now, of course, Joe Hendry's been the talk about in NXT. People have been, of course, praising him. They love him. Of course, getting the bigger pop. But, however, Gallus, as you know, they're calling Joe Hendry a fake Scottish because he doesn't fit the parameters of what real Scottish looks like. They only view themselves and Drew McIntyre, and they did not like the fact that that Joe Hendry's being talked about. So they said they're going to try to deal with him at some point. Now, of course, Paige was saying this thing with him and Oro Mensah never happened, that it never, that the pinfall. Well, of course, Oro Mensah did it again, pin him. It wasn't an actual match, but it showed him. But at some point near the end of the show, Ethan Page talked to Ava about this, and he had enough with Oro Mensah. Decided, how about in night 2 of the Great American Bash, he faces Oro Mensah for the NXT title. So she'll draft a contract until next week. So we'll see what happens from then on. Now, our main event is the Rascals versus Javon Evans, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom. I thought this match was awesome. I mean, I thought it was fantastic with a lot of high flying. But I have to say, I think the fans are really behind the Rascals because I'm a fan of the Rascals myself. I mean, watching Impact, now TNA, and back to the Treehouse days, those were the best moments. So I thought it was great. But I have to say, they were able to pick up a great win, and all of a sudden, Wentz picked up that one move that he does all the time, getting pushed to do a backflip type, pinning Axiom, and just like that, it's over. So it's the possibility we could see either MSK getting their rematch for the NXT Tag Team titles. Now remember, they never lost those belts. It was relinquished due to the fact that they let go Wentz because of the false accusations. Now I know the WWE meant no hard feelings towards him, but it is what it is. So we'll see what happens from here on out. So I think we are done with NXT. So let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have for all of you. Now, let me get this one out of the way with the West Coast Pro updates. As you know, they have two events happening in the month of September. There is Friday the 13th, which of course happens on a Friday. And they just announced Aaron Solo will be there. So if you guys are from the Bay Area and want to check that out, go get your tickets now. Now, as you know, recently I talked about West Coast Pro coming here to San Diego to their upcoming event on the 21st, San Diego Showdown. They just announced who else is going to be there. Alpha Zoe is going to be there, the tag team known as Krusty Crew, Los Suavecitos, of course, the LA Pricks. Someone who I know, who's also a local wrestler from here, J2 Marioli will be there. And of course, Zara Sakir. So those are the names that we participating for the San Diego Showdown. I actually know J2. Hopefully we get to talk again. I haven't seen him in person for a long time. Now, as you know, Stardom this coming weekend will have their upcoming events, the Wonder Rendezvous event and of course the World Rendezvous. 2 shows back to back. Now, they just recently put out the full card of the event. Now, this is for the Saturday event. Now, of course, the main event will be the Wonder of Stardom. Saryunu will face off against Natsupoi. So this is for that belt. And as for the future belt, it's going to be defended. We have Rina, who has now been dubbed as the Queen of the Futures, faces off against Rana Yagami. So this is going to be interesting to see. Now, remember, as you know, we have an open available spot for the Red Stars Block A. We have Yuna Mizumori versus Waka Tsukiyama. Now, these two ladies know each other very well before their Stardom run. But however, we'll see who is going to advance. Waka's determined to run to go, but Yuna is determined to be there too. So we'll see how that rolls out. Now, our next match, we have Maika Mina teaming up with Kamitani. And Sudi taking on, of course, the members of Oedo Tai, as you know, may have heard. All hell broke loose recently. I have not seen the full show yet due to what's been going on, but hopefully I get to that. If they face off against Momo Watanabe, Tekla, Konami, and Ruka. Now, of course, we have Maya Iwatani versus Hanako. Now, remember, this is Hanako, one of her last matches before she goes on her U.S. excursion. Now we have, of course, the newly formed faction Starlight Kid, Azumi, Suzuki, Meisira, and Miyu Amasaki facing star members Azuki, Koguma, Hana, Saieda, and Momo Kogo. So that's going to be very interesting. We have, of course, Tam Nakano facing her daughter, Sayaka Kurao. So this is going to be interesting. I'm sure Sayaka Kurao is going to put one hell of a match for her, and I think this is going to be interesting. Saki Kashima will face Aya Sakura. Ironically, Aya Sakura accused her of certain things. Recently, she's saying that you don't practice because all you do is play video games, pachinga, and all that. Kashima was like, where did you learn that? So, this is going to be interesting. We have Lady C and Hina. They'll be teaming up the face-off against Xena and Rian. So that's going to be interesting as well. Now, the following day for the Sunday card, we have, of course, the World of Stardom. Maika will defend her belt against Natsuko Tora. But the real question is, if Natsuko Tora wins this, that means Oda Tai takes full control of Stardom. Of course, the high-speed belt will be defended. Kamitana defends her belt against Mei Sita. Now we have the Blue Stars A opening, Miyu Amasaki versus Lady C, two former Queen's Quest members. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Mayu Iwatani and Hana will team up to face against the reformed Meltier, Tam Nakano, and Natsupoi. Suri will get her revenge against Konami. As you know, Konami betrayed God's Eye, but we'll get to that at some point. Hanako will face against her classmate, if you guys know this, Aya Sakura. Those two were in the same class together. They were in the same batch. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And then, of course, we have a very interesting gauntlet match happening. Mina teams up with Xena and Waka to face against Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Zuzu. Then we have Azuki, Koguma, and Saida. Then we have Kashima, Rani Yagami, and Hina. And then finally, Momo, Tekla, and Rina. So all of these will be the gauntlet. And then finally, we have, of course, a three-way match. Four-way. Yuna Mizumori, Momo Kogo, Ruka, and of course Rian. So that's pretty much for those Stardom events. Now, as you know, we have later on this month, this Saturday, I think this Sunday, the Bloodsport event. They just announced Brian Johnson will face against a guy named Hadi Karaui. Hopefully I pronounced it right, but yes. Singapore Pro Wrestling has announced for the Hardcore Island on the 16th of August. They just announced Alexis Lee, who is one of their regulars and top stars, will be in a three-way match against two of Tokyo Pro Wrestling's talents. We have Miyu Yamashita, the Pink Striker, and the Bird, Kaya Toribani. On August 29th, for the MLW Summer of the Beast, TJP will be making his appearance. So take a look at that. And of course, as you know, in House of Glory, they'll be making their way to Chicago on the 5th of September. Mustafa Ali will be making his return there too. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now for our developments. CM Punk told Pro Wrestling Illustrator that she told Roxanne Perez that she is trying to convince his wife, AJ Lee, to return to wrestling. I'm sure that's something we want to see. I'm sure that Roxanne Perez will love to have a match against her. So we'll see how that goes. So keep your fingers crossed for those. Now, as you know, the addition for WWE signing both Stephanie Vacquier and Delta, there is another wrestler that fits the same kind of category as them, and she's originally from Australia. Her name is Delta. Fightful Selects reports that she is signed with WWE. She tried out for them on the this past February when they were in Australia, and of course, she'll be reporting soon. But however, they allowed her that she will be finishing off her tour, her dates in Australia, so it's only a matter of time until we see her. Now, Wrestling Observer reports more about Kenny Omega. As you know, he had his surgery. He just returned to squats. But however, this is not the end for him. We still don't know when he'll be back. So hopefully until he's 100%. So we'll see what happens until then. I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody did enjoy this episode. Now, I want to put this clear. Since the following day is going to be Wednesday, I will not be actually releasing a new video until maybe Friday or so, due to the fact that because this week is Comic-Con and here, it's going to cause me a problem. You see, I will be going to work very early and I won't be out till very late, so I won't be able to review AEW Blood and Guts. But however, I'm going to try in the best of my ability to watch it while I'm taking my breaks or so. But I won't be able to do the review until the following day of that. So basically, I will lump it in on TNA and Ring of Honor if it's possible. But if anything else, we'll see how that goes out. So that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. and have a nice day. Bang.